Hey everyone, today I'm back with a lubing guide. Now this was mostly prompted by the fact that I felt it was time to give these two cubes a re-lube, but also one of my viewers requested a breakdown and teardown and setup of my Worm 21, so I thought why not give that a shot and let you guys see the beautiful purple internals of this cube again. Anyway, I will start with where to buy your lube. So you can buy regular silicone oil from Amazon and from hobby shops. Now that seems a bit strange, but that's because you can buy remote control car shock oil or differential oil, and they will work perfectly fine. They're essentially just this, like regular weighted silicone oil. They're extremely good value and you can find them pretty much everywhere. I'd recommend getting one thin and one thick lube, and I'll touch back on the details of that later. If you're buying from the Cubicle, that's also a very good choice. Most other cube shop resellers have their own versions of lubes. I think they're mostly okay, although in general, GAN 2 and GAN 3 is another good combo just because it's good value and one thick, one thin. Some cube resellers have fairly bad value lubes, such as Speedcube shop. Their premium lubes are just dyed silicone and there's nothing else to it, so I wouldn't buy from them. In terms of which lubes to buy, again, in general, one thick, one thin, and that should be good enough. So from a very good budget set would be XMT10, which is a fast lube, and pair that with Adheron Heavy, which is a slow lube. I also like the classic Angstrom setup, which is Angstrom Dignitas, Angstrom Gravitas, and DNM. Another one that I like is Gravitas and FZ Calm, just because I like FZ lubes. They're very nice, they're dampened and quiet. Some other ones that people like would be Mystic and Silk. I personally don't like Mystic too much just because it's a bit papery and strange and it has a 1-year expiry, so yeah, I just don't like that concept. And New Silk is a little bit too gummy and a bit too slow for my liking, so I also wouldn't recommend that. If you want something that's more similar to Old Silk, I would recommend either XMT10 or Lubical Speedy. That's fairly similar and feels pretty nice still, it's nice and plush. The other one is Lubical Black. Now, I probably wouldn't buy this just because it's a massive pain, it's very messy. It does work pretty well, but again, if you have a maglev cube, you definitely don't need it. It's only for springed cubes, and still I would just use Gravitas or another heavy silicone oil instead. If you'd like to see any more of this in detail, have a read, I would recommend going down to the description and clicking on the link for the comprehensive hardware guide, which I and a few other people helped to make. And it has some nice descriptions of standard lubes like this and premium lubes like this. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Before I move on, I'd also like to just give a quick explanation of the difference between tracks and pieces. So I'll just take my Tornado V2. So these are the pieces, so just the top area where the main contact surface is, like around here, and then the tracks are here where the feet interact with the corner feet interact with the edges. So one moment, like this. These are the tracks. That's just for reference in case I mention it again later. Anyways, I'll get on with the disassembly of these cubes. Right, now I won't get too much into this because everyone has their own way of doing it, but the way I like to clean my pieces is just with a damp towel. Now you can use a damp paper towel, you could use a microfiber cloth, and you could even use a toothbrush. I personally don't really see the point just because you're just removing lube. I don't really think you need to get that deep into the pieces. Another thing that I've heard is if you really want to deep clean your cube, you can go with some isopropyl alcohol and that will really get rid of the lube. I'm not looking to do that today, so I'm just going to be doing it with water. So what I like to do is I just take the cloth and I rub the piece. Now that bit's fairly simple. You just rub it until the sides of the piece are not as shiny and oily as they were before. And after that, what I do is I take the edge of the cloth, like up here or something, and I put it into the track just like that, and I run it along, and that should do most of the work for removing the lube, which is why I don't think I need a toothbrush or isopropyl alcohol at this point. So I'll finish cleaning up all of this, and I'll get back to you for the actual lubing part. Alright, so I've finished cleaning the cubes. I've assembled this one mostly just because I don't need to touch the core, but now I will demonstrate how to lube the springs. So I like to do that with Gravitas. I've got about that much on it. I'm hoping that's focusing, and I will just take the spring like this, and I will apply a little bit just on the edge of it. That way, hopefully they'll get rid of the minor spring noise that I've been getting with this cube. And I will put that into the center, just like that. And then I can do the same for the top. So I'll just keep using the little blob that I have on here, and I will apply it around there. Just like that. And then this doesn't actually apply to most cubes. And now I can feel that it's a bit smoother and a little bit of noise, but it's better than it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of them, and I'll be back. Okay, just as a bit of a side note, I think I've figured out why I don't like the TG in its stock form, at least with springs. So, hang on one moment. Yeah, so I've lubed this side between the washers and the plastic, so that's at the top and the bottom. And on this one, I've only lubed between the spring and the washer. Now, you'll notice that when I do this, it stays where it is. Whereas on this side, without the lube, it springs back like that. So I think that sort of gives it that rubbery feeling that I really dislike. So that's why I haven't been enjoying it too much. So hopefully after lubing it, it won't have that, and I'll like the cube a lot more. Now, while I'm here, I may as well make a quick note on how to tension your cubes. So obviously I didn't have to do it here, but the first step you would do is to just put the screws back into your core and tighten them a little bit. Next step is to crank the compression cups all the way up to max. So on the Moyu cube, that would be level 9. And that's just so that the cup is as far up as possible so you can see it easily. Then I would tighten each of these screws down until the maglev ring, which is there, or the spring washer, or if there's no maglev, I can even use the top of the screw. Make sure that that is in line with the top of the cup. Now I would do this in pairs of sides, and I would look at the cube from this angle, like that. I do it in pairs just because you can get each pair even and then move on to the next pair. And it might take a few goes of flipping between each side before you get it right. After that, I screw down each side about with the same amount of turns until it's at the tension, or well, screw depth that I'd like. Generally my cubes are all about this loose, but again it depends on the cube and your preferences. After that, then I start messing with the compression. Low compression generally means faster and less snappy corner cutting. Higher compression usually means slower, snappier corner cutting, and as a result the cube feels a lot more blocky. On this particular cube I'm on compression 1, which is just one click from the base, but again completely depends on your preferences and the cube that you're using. So I can't give a definitive guide on how to do this. It's just up to you and what you feel about the cube. Alright, so now that's done, I've lubed the core, which took ages because of the design of this thing. I really don't like it. Anyway, it feels about the same as it did before I started, and that's probably about right because this thing eats lube, which means the lube dries up very quickly, and it was practically dry before I cleaned it. So, I'm going to test out this setup, which will be Angstrom Dignitas, FZ Calm, and DNM, because I think this cube needs smoothness and speed. So first of all, I will take out an edge. I'm only doing that on this cube because it's got kind of a double track or 1.5 track design, and it's a bit hard to get it right into there. So I'll get some Dignitas, and I'll just spread it in there like that, and I'll put some on the other side, and I can get to these other bits later, so I'll just leave that for now. Just like that, and we can start breaking it in. So, okay, I'm not feeling that too much, so I'll put a little bit more in. So this step is basically all up to preference. It's whatever you think the cube needs. There's no really set amount that you should or shouldn't put in. So I think it needs more, so I will put a bit more. And I might put some on the pieces as well now. Right, so obviously that's one setup you can do. And for this cube, I think I will be going with Gravitas, Dignitas, and either Calm or DNM. And that should give it a nice smooth feel. Anyway, that's just my preferences, and it's really up to you to find what you like. So I'll just leave you with that, and see you in the next video.